Hello there, and welcome to another live stream. I'm Shane Olson, and I'm going to be sculpting this head again that we're going to continue from last week. Just keep going on it. So welcome to the stream. And I'm going to get my music going. All right. Hey, Neil. Hey, Mark. How's it going? You guys hear me okay? Is this working good? Just need to share it with my page. Hey, Sheswada, how you doing? All right, I think we're good. Okay. Let's continue on from last week. This is kind of the target we're going for. Where did my, there it is, okay. All right, hey Sapphire, how's it going? Okay, let's see, trying to get my settings back with Sculptris here. Yeah. That works. Hey Fluffy. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much. Just gonna detail out this ear. This character's kind of a strange one just because of this forehead. It's so strange, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Hey Sammy. Okay, so I'm just gonna detail out this ear just a little bit to get us some reference. So how has your week been, everyone? Despite things happening? Hey, Jin, not at the moment. I might in the future, but at the moment, probably not. I've been approached by several people asking if I want to get into it. Hey, Leonard, how's it going? Thanks, Neil. Yes, this concept is by, well, there's two. There's two artists. It's kind of a fan art of concept. So the original was by Nina Madafri. Thanks for the links, Neil. And then the concept was, this one is by Meg Zavala. There you go. Invested $1,500. Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's why I'm not getting into this. It's not a, kind of feels pyramid scheme-ish to me. But let's see. Because I guess the biggest part is I don't really understand it yet. I don't understand how the money is made. I like the supporting artist part. That's good. But the investment part, I don't understand. Finish your first 3D character job during the holidays? Awesome. That's great. Congrats. Okay. Thought I'd listen to some 80s tunes today. This is like, whenever I think of 80s tunes, I think of You Spin Me Rights Round. That's like ultimate. That's what I'm listening to. And I think now every time I listen to it, I think about The Wedding Singer, Adam Sandler. Yeah, a few ZBrush artists are getting into NFTs, like Raph and Pablo. And I hope, yeah, I really hope they find success with it. And like I said, I may get into it in the future. I just don't know about it right now. One of my students is doing really well with it. And I think what I would like to do personally is just get into more of like a Patreon style thing, where it's like more of a membership, because I just want to make art and hang out with people just like I'm doing right now. This is what I enjoy. So if I can somehow monetize that, I'm a fan. Daniel Bell. Oh, okay. Sure that you can sell there because you're great. Oh, thanks. I just don't know, like, when you sell, what do they get? I don't understand. I don't understand the licensing of it. Like, do they just own the picture to then sell it, or you know what I mean? I don't, because in traditional licensing of art, you say, you're going to pay for the license for this piece so you can use it for this specific purpose. But I don't know about how that works with the NFT thing, because it's more like you're buying it's almost like you're buying a painting and then you can just resell that painting rather than use it for like a business venture thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not a logo that you're buying. So that's the part where I'm still kind of confused. So I hope I'm right in thinking that it's more like I'm buying this specific painting. But then how does it work when you want to like make copies of that painting? I don't understand. Oh, let's see. What happened to lifetime subscription meaning lifetime? What? So Overstart, I don't work for Pixologic. I'm a volunteer, and yeah, if you want to air any grievances, I guess I would say send an email to Pixologic or Maxon. But me personally, I feel like Pixologic has been nothing but generous to us for the last umpteen years that I've used ZBrush. So I don't have any problems with it at all. And also with the whole, the whole new licensing thing, it's not like they're taking your ZBrush license. If you own a perpetual license, they're not going to take it away. It's just future updates. Me personally, I'm people are putting in hard work to update the software, and I'm completely okay with paying people to update and make the software better. You know what I mean? So they can go home and feed their families, kind of a thing. So that's my personal opinion on it. Hey, Aka, how's it going, man? I think we can expect some good changes in Pixologic now. Well, they definitely are going to have access to more programmers, and that's always a good thing in my opinion. I don't know that they'll put animation in ZBrush. That's not really what ZBrush is for, in my opinion. It's a digital sculptor, and it does that very, very, very well. I would argue, if not the best in the world, so I don't know why. I just kind of hope, I'm just going to throw this out there, I just kind of hope they take what is in here in ZBrush and make it better, because they'll have more eyes and hands on it. In your own opinion, Shane, is there an advantage to using a pen display rather than a pen tab? You know, I get this question every single stream, and I actually don't mind it. But it's funny that the question always comes up. I need to make a video about it, honestly, YouTube, and then I can just say, just go watch this video. But yeah, my opinion is a tablet or a Cintiq. I just suggest that you get one of them, whichever you can afford. Neither of them are going to make you a better artist. They're only going to speed up your productivity. And the Cintiq will speed up your productivity a little more than a tablet would, just because it's directly one-to-one. So you're seeing your pen touch the screen where you're actually wanting to stroke, rather than a disconnect that a tablet has. That's the only difference. So thanks, Neil. Yeah, so Neil posted the link to the original concept artist. Yeah, Mark, that's true. So just to keep going there, so a Cintiq, it takes up a lot of desk space. It's expensive. It's heavy. It's actually making my desk bow. It's heavy, and your hand gets in the way of what you're doing sometimes. Those are the disadvantages of it. But the advantages are it's a direct one-to-one connection with your brain and your hand and your model. So those are the advantages. With a tablet, it's much cheaper. It takes up less real estate on your desk. It's light, it's portable, and it's the same amount of resolution, typically, with the pressure sensitivity, unless you get a cheaper one. And it doesn't really matter, honestly. I just get whatever you can afford. And the only advice I really have is get a tablet or touch screen of some sort. Not touch screen, not touch. A pen screen of some sort. So just don't sculpt with a mouse. That's the only advice I have for you. Yeah, and it's completely up to you, Jen. So don't feel like you're missing out on anything if you don't have a pen screen, right? A pen display. Don't feel like, oh, I'm going to become such a better artist once I get a Cintiq or something, and that's just not the case. What's the difference between detail brush and pinch brush? Well, the detail brush will offset the geometry towards or away from the camera, and the pinch brush will literally pinch the geometry and pull it towards the line that you're drawing. I can show you here. So if we get in close, and I grab this detail brush is essentially my version of the Damien standard brush. So the Damien standard brush is pretty much the same thing. But you can see, here, let me turn off Sculptris Pro for a second. Okay, you can see how it's literally displacing the geometry. It's pushing it in, away from the camera or away from the surface on its normals. or you can pull it out if you hold down Alt. Okay, and then a pinch brush will do something similar, but it will gather the material or the geometry towards that line. See the difference there? So that's kind of the difference. See how this is not pinched? It's just displaced. Hey, Ohad, I'm good, thanks. Hey, Chris. Okay, let's see. Let's get these. I feel like these lips need to be larger. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with that hair yet, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Hey, from Russia. Welcome to the stream. I don't know if I like those side-by-side lines. I'm just trying to get that plane that's crawling up there, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird in 3D. What's the difference between dam standard and your detail? Mine is just a little smoother, lighter, like more subtle. And as you turn around a corner, it's a little smoother. The dot spacing is a little tighter. It's very similar though, very similar. And the pinch brush started out as a maw cut brush. So let's see, what's the key to study detail when you only have reference from one angle? What are the key things to look for? Well, experience is the biggest thing, because I'm using all of my 20 plus years of modeling experience in my brain. So when I look at this head, I kind of know what's going on around on the side I can't see. So it comes to, if you don't have the experience, it comes to gathering reference, like finding different references of different heads and different angles to figure out what this thing might look like from different angles. And then I will also use just some of the same shape language that's happening from the angle that I can see, and I'll carry that shape language around to the side that I can't see. Do I have the Human Z Builder plugin? I don't. How much is style and how much is anatomy? What do you mean by that question? They kind of both go hand in hand, so. What brushes do you use for hair? Most recently, I've just been using this this brush that I made called the Carve brush. And I carve, I hope I get to the hair today, but if you watch one of my live streams back, I did this devil and I did the hair on him, and I used this technique just using this. And I also use the Maxon hairbrush and then Dylan Ekron's hairbrush sometimes. So those are my if I'm going to use a curve brush, I'll use one of those too. Okay. Is this Core Mini? No, this is the full version. Okay. So let's see. I kind of want to blend these horns into this head. I think. Before I do, I'm going to save it. Will this mesh be rigged for animation? No. Do you need to consider anatomy? I'm always considering anatomy, whether I'm sculpting for a toy or animation or rendering. Yeah, it's always part of it. Aren't the hairbrushes what you link in the workshop? Yep, they are in the workshop. If you're a student of mine and you're part of 3D Character Workshop, there's links to Dylan's brush and the Maxon hairbrush. Hey, the nerd, I just had a conversation about that about 10 minutes ago, so I would hate to talk about it again. You can watch it back, I guess. I think you can rewind a Twitch stream, or I don't know if you can rewind a YouTube stream. Okay. I don't mean to be rude about that. I just don't want to repeat myself. Okay, let's see. So I want to make these two the same, similar density. So pull this down to give it some. You can in YouTube? Cool. What does the post subdiv button do? It will just, if you think about the two operations like modifiers, so you get a subdivision modifier and a thickness modifier. It depends on the post subdiv just means you're going to do the subdivision either before or after you add thickness. That's all that does, is toggle whether it happens before or after. That makes sense. So this is a lot more dense. So let's pull this down more. I think I want to apply this. Okay. I went too far. That'll probably work. Yeah. All right. Usually work with Wacom. Nice. Okay. Let's see. And weld this. Where are we? Merge. Here. It's right here. Merge down. Okay. Now I'm just going to stitch these together. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Okay. Remembered mirror, Neil. Is that light picker on your UI? Yeah, it's on my most recent UI. I just thought I'd try to bring it out and see if I liked it out here or not. Yeah, it's nice because I can kind of just roll the light around a little bit and get different looks. How do you allow for symmetry, Paul? What are you talking about? To turn symmetry on, you just hit the X on your keyboard and it'll turn it on and off. How long did it take you to learn to sculpt? Well, it's not really fair to answer that question because I was a traditional box modeler for years and years before I learned how to sculpt do digital sculpting. So I don't really know, like, because if you're just starting out, it's not really a good answer, I guess, because I've had some other experience before digital sculpting. So that this is just kind of like the next step. But it took me, so to learn ZBrush, I don't know, a couple months. But I'm still learning, you know. But I've worked in the game industry for about 23 years. And 5 of those I was an animator, and 1 of those I was doing rigging. And it was only kind of the last, I would say, the the last 8 to 10 years I've been doing modeling full time again. Sculpting, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. How do you know which planes, shapes to keep and which to get rid of when I end up putting too much in this style? Oh, again, I think it's just a matter of experience and trying stuff, experimenting. And even crisp edges, it's still a design decision. And, you know, trying to figure out what to keep and what to discard is part of the whatever design that you're trying to do. It's kind of part of that idea making decision, like when you're making a logo, right? It's part of the design decision. So there's not really a single answer for that, because it always depends on the character and depends on what the property is it's going into. Because sometimes characters don't have any creases and sometimes they have a lot. So completely depends. Hey, what's up, Frank? How many hours usually practice or recommend? As much as you can without getting bored or tired, I guess. Or burnt out. You don't want to burn. So I'm not actually a fan of the sculpting challenges where you sculpt something every single day for a month. That's just asking for burnout. You know, like I suggest doing some quick sculpts every once in a while, you know. Like for me right now, I sculpt at least once a week, but way more than that. And if you're on the job, if you're working at a job, it's every day for 8 to 12 hours a day, right? I mean, but you're working on something and you're getting paid to do it. That's something different. So, yeah, I don't know if I have a clear answer for that, other than as much as you can stand to think you're getting better. Do I have a favorite historical sculpture? I've always been a fan of David. You know, just because of the stance and the hair and the hand. It's kind of, yeah, it's just in the eyes. Everything about that statue is amazing. Sorry, I'm focusing here for a second. Just trying to get that plane in there. Sammy, that's exactly what I'm talking about. 100 heads in 100 days. Yeah, no thanks. Run away. Unless it's like specifically super simple, something that's achievable. But other than that, no way. That's the fastest way to burn yourself out. And if you're burnt out, then you're not going to want to do it anymore, you know? But they do say as soon as you get paid to do what you're passionate about, it's no longer a passion, right? Because then you're earning your living at it. I don't think it's ever lost its luster for me. I've tried really hard to not let it lose its luster. Is the only way I can really put it. Yeah, Frank, it truly is. Like I did these like lunch crunches a while back, and as much as I loved to do them and keep my, you know, keep my skills fresh and strong, it's easy to just get burnout on it and not want it. I don't think I've seen anybody start to do some challenges like that have just kind of quickly waned. Such an interesting mouth. Trying to get it to... Do I have perspective on what? On burnout? Yeah, when you're working overtime, like 10, 12-hour days for months on end, you get burnout. But that's a different thing. That you just kind of, you know, try and spend as much time with your family and stuff as that you can when you're not at work. That helps. Okay, I'm going to add some more to these lashes and probably go all the way around like this is. I think that will really start to make it look like the character. Let's see, what do I want to do with this though? I might make them again and just extrude it out twice. Yeah, I think I'll do that. You mean the perspective in the viewport in ZBrush? Oh, I do have perspective on. I don't know why, actually. Thank you. I usually don't. Because not a lot of things work with perspective on. I mean, they do and they don't. But if you're trying to slice through stuff, it will kind of throw it off a little bit. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to cross these down here. Do you know of a way to preserve settings within a function like ZRemesh so you don't always have to adjust them? Yeah, Adam, I think there's two different ways to save things in ZBrush. One of them, you can try and save it in a project. So I have a startup project file right here, this ruler, and I have a lot of my settings saved in that project file. That's why I made this project file. And it's actually a project file you can go get right now from 3dcharacterworkshop.com for free if you want it. But that will save like your brush settings and things like that. But then there's also this plugin that I've recently been using called the Z Startup Utility. I actually have a video of it, about it on YouTube, talking about how to set this up and what all of these things do. And then you can store your settings and then click on Install Custom Startup. And every time you restart up ZBrush, it'll remember all this stuff. So you don't have to reset it, everything every time. So I don't know about specifically ZRemesher settings, but you might look into that. Okay. let's see. How do you handle lighting in ZBrush? I don't really light in ZBrush. ZBrush is a digital sculpting program. So I don't typically do my renders in here. I'll do them elsewhere. I will usually use this Skin Shade 4 to just do all my generic lighting. And the reason I use Skin Shade 4 is so I can see the color, because when I send it to another program like Keyshot or something like that, then I'll have all the color that I need, and then I'll do my lighting in there. Okay. Let's see. You're updating. So many questions, you guys. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. What tool do you think is missing in ZBrush? I think a good tool, Retopology, a little more. I mean, there is some Retopology stuff in here. I think it can be improved, but I don't know that there's any tools that are missing for specifically for digital sculpting. I think they're kind of reaching the end of what it needs to be, and I think it has everything it needs for me to create. So these characters, most of these characters that you see behind me, well, all the characters I've created in ZBrush, like from start to finish. So including posing, all of it. So, I mean, some of the top ones have been done by other artists, but like these bigger ones have been done by me. Let's see. What's the workflow to prepare this character with Sculptris Pro to be ready for the anime? Yeah, just Retopology if you're going to animate it. When I updated ZBrush, I noticed version 1.2 thing going on over there. These are visibility sets. So you can hide and show different subtools with these visibility. These are just kind of containers that will show and hide subtools together. Or I don't really use these. It's fairly new, but that's what this is. It's visibility. I wonder if Easy Remesh might have that setting. I don't know myself. Oh, what are you talking about? I must have missed that Easy Remesh conversation. Thanks for the link, Neil. Let's see. I'm always amazed by how crisp and perfect your work is, especially the Disney Infinity stuff. I'd love to know some tips on achieving this. Nick, I can tell you kind of the whole like a high level version of how the cleanest mesh you can possibly get in any program is a subdivided low resolution mesh. So that's your goal for each piece and part that you're wanting to do, including like I am using Sculptris Pro here, but you can see it's not, I'm still kind of getting some faceted edges down in here. I mean, I could shade it smooth in another program, but for the most part, I will go in and retopologize this and then subdivide it, and that's how it becomes the cleanest mesh it can be. So that's my best advice I can give you is low resolution subdivided mesh. Okay. Let's give this draw size 1. Question about polygon size tab you have in your UI for Sculptris Pro. Where can I find this in my ZBrush preferences? Oh, it's just Tessimate. So if you go to geometry, it's under Tessimate right here, polygon size. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a good question. Do you do your renders elsewhere, like what, like Keyshot? Like using the Keyshot bridge, I'll push it over to Keyshot. Or like Maverick, just another outside renderer, something like that. Okay, so I can add some thickness to these eyelashes. What would you do to improve your technique? I have a tool set that I use, but some feel like it kind of works instead of properly. Visit a course. Well, Don, I teach a course online if that's what you're looking for. It's called the 3D Character Workshop. And the ways that I like to improve my technique, other than just experience and trying to, you know, make my artwork better and better every day, is I try to work non-destructively, which just means that I like to be able to go back in my process and be able to adjust things without having to remake it, if that makes sense. Like these eyelashes, this is just a single plane, right? And if I add thickness, that means I can go back and edit the single plane without having to try and edit two sides to something, like the front and the back of a cape or a dress, for example. If I can just add temporary thickness, that means it's non-destructive. Or like in the case of hair, if it's based on a curve or a modifier, I can go back and edit that modifier without breaking it, if that makes sense. Oh, thanks, Neil. Yeah, so the second one, the one above it, this one right here, the subdivide size, that's under stroke. So if you go to stroke, Sculptris Pro, it's right here, subdivide size. Yeah, Tessellate is essentially, it's like a flood fill of triangles. And the difference between Tessellate and Dynamesh is Dynamesh will rebuild your entire character while stitching it together. And sometimes it will stitch between really close gaps, and you don't necessarily want that. And Tessellate will use more triangles than Dynamesh will. So that's kind of the differences there. And Tessellate you can watch happen on the fly as you move the slider, so you can see exactly the density that you want. And Dynamesh is kind of more of a running blind, where you just have to guess. So that's kind of the difference there. Okay, so with these eyelashes, well, geez. With these two coming out, I think I'm going to make those out of separate geometry and just make this its own thing. I'm going to add some more thickness to this. Delete my, or get rid of my creases. And so somebody was asking about this post subdiv button earlier. I can just turn it off right now, and you can see the before and after there. So it's basically just doing the subdivision after the thickness instead of before. I try to go the sub D low res route, but then I have to up the subdivisions to get the detail when projecting. No, so around between 1 and 3 million should be plenty per subtool when you're sculpting and you're trying to get the high. Like if I wanted to project all this detail up in these horns, if I sculpted all this detail in Sculptris Pro and I wanted to project that to a low resolution subdivided mesh, you just want to subdivide it up to about 3, I would say maximum 20 million. That pushes it. That will push on your video card a little bit. So, and then there's other people that do super high resolution stuff, and they'll use it's called HD geometry. What is his name? Chris. Oh goodness. Chris Costa. So if you watch Chris Costa's stuff, he did an explanation of his workflow, and he uses HD geometry to get all the facial pores and all that stuff. But with stylized characters, you don't really need to go in that much detail. So I don't really use HD with my stuff. Okay. Okay, let's just fill this. That's some black eyelashes, that's for sure. But yeah, see, it's not quite black. Juba, yeah, sure. I mean, it is, but I can just as easily push this mesh over to somewhere else and quickly remesh it or retopologize it and bring it back. It doesn't take that much time. But yes, I agree with you. Some retopology tools would be very nice in here. I tried to see how far you can subdivide before a crash. Made it to 80 million. Well, it's not just crashing. It's actually like before it becomes unusable. Like your machine will just slow down so much that you just can't move brushes or move geometry or do anything. So I usually try and stick to around 1 million per subtool if I can. That's like my cap. Sometimes I'll go to 3 or 5, but it's usually just 1. Okay. So I want to taper this more. Do you plan to sculpt the body? Hey, what's up, B-Man? Not for, well, I might eventually, but for the live stream, I usually just do the busts. Just to keep it simple and keep moving on to new characters. So probably not this one, maybe. What's going on here? It's like manifold geometry. Okay. That's better. Hey, Tattoon, how's it going? I'm gonna make this quite thin. It goes to heavy right there. Okay. I actually wish they would add the ability to display smooth faces instead of just have everything hard-edged all the time. So that is one thing I would add, because then it would make it so I wouldn't feel like I need to add more geometry to make it look smoother. So right now I can see all the facets on the top of this lip, for example. If I could just turn on smooth shading, then I wouldn't feel like I need to add more geometry to clean that up, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain when I don't have the option to turn it on right now. But it's like really, really little stuff like that. Okay. So let's add a cube. Well, to this. Hey, Raphael, how's it going? If you I don't get the orange dot when using dynamic. Are my settings messed? No. So the orange dot comes from how much it's getting subdivided. The orange dot just shows you where your original geometry still is in space, if that makes sense. So it's not a flaw in the way you've used it. It's a matter of, is your geometry getting subdivided enough to show you those orange dots? Yeah, I have no idea why they haven't done smooth shading. I have my guesses, but I don't know. ZBrush does not have an entry name for the list of subtools, like parent, right? The name. Yeah, it's just, it just makes just whatever your current subtool is, that's what it names. Okay. Let's add her long lashes. Long, luxurious. Luxurious. Okay. Is a result of matte cap rendering, not exactly soft versus hard edge. Right, but like what I mean is like other programs like Maya, whatever, you can show and hide hard or soft edges. And I just like to have that ability in here. Whether it's a matte cap or not. Yeah, you can't turn it on. It's just not a thing that's available. Okay, yeah. Uncrease all. See, this is the orange dots. Those orange dots are saying this is where your original mesh is. See this right here? This dot. If I hit D to subdivide it, it's still there being represented by the orange dot. Can't we make it? You can make eyelashes probably 50 different ways in here, but for this, what I'm doing right now, this is the way I've chosen to make it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Oh. And why is that taking so long to scale down? There we go. Let's see. How can you scan the height details with Retopology? Do you project the height details to another subtool? Well, if there's 3 different ways, honestly. It depends on what you're trying to do with your geometry. So if you want to 3D print it, then you need to subdivide your geometry high enough that it will accept those details when you do a projection. So you do a geometry project within ZBrush. If you're going to a video game, then you need to bake the maps from the high resolution character to a low retopologized character, and then create normal maps that will define the detail. And if you're doing it for a film or a television show, you will use displacement maps, which will use subdivision levels and displacement of the geometry after the subdivision levels have been applied. So those are the 3 different things. Let's see. There's a soften edges that makes Maya interpolate normal vectors between neighboring. Yeah, that's the technical way to describe it, I guess. Let's see, I wonder if ZBrush has that. It does not. To my knowledge, it does not. Big fun. So I started a character with many objects, clothes, bags, robot arms, many other details that make it up. How is your workflow for this kind of character for animation? It's the same workflow. I'm making a lot of objects for this character that I'm making right now, and it's the same. So basically at the end, if I were to take this to animation, I would retopologize it with the proper edge loops. So I would be able to deform it properly. Or I could bring in a mesh that is already existing and match it to the surface rather than draw a new topology on here. But since this is not for animation, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to sculpt it until it looks good, I guess. There's a thing called dynamic subdivision that would apply a normal map on the model too, but it would have to be unwrapped. So are you talking about outside of ZBrush? Because dynamic subdivision inside of ZBrush does a totally different thing. And these eyelashes have dynamic subdivision turned on right now. It's right here, dynamic subdiv right there. And all that does is it shows you a preview of what it would look like if you put real subdivision levels on your character. It's like it's just a preview. Okay, I want to make this upper eyelash a lot thicker. What's the difference with dynamic and divide? Which one is better? They're not better, they're the same. So dynamic subdivisions is just a preview. It's showing you what it's going to look like once you subdivide it. And if you see this apply word right here, that's going to apply the dynamic and make it an actual subdivision. So that it's not really one's better than the other. One is just a preview and one is after you actually apply it. And after you apply it, that does restrict you as far as what you can do with that mesh after it has subdivision levels. Like you can no longer slice it or things like that. So I hope that makes sense. What I mean about visible edges, if you have quite low poly mesh, even with soft edges in a marmoset real-time rendering, it will have visible angles because of the light. Oh yeah. But that, I think the same in ZBrush? No, it's not the same in ZBrush. This is full hard-edged rendering that you see while you're sculpting. It does, as far as I understand it, there's no way to turn on smooth shading inside of ZBrush. It's not a thing. So you have to subdivide it more or add more polys or, to get it to do that. But I know what you're talking about, and I don't believe that that's the case. A touchy subject? What the hard edge versus smooth? I don't think it's touchy. I just think it's just not possible. See these facets right here? It's showing me every hard edge of the surface of this model, period. So, and I can say this because I've taken this model to a different program, turned on soft rendering, and it's smooth rendering. So there you go. Okay. Sorry if I come across as passionate about it. Because I've wanted it to be in there for a long time. I think it's just the way ZBrush is developed and the way it renders its geometry. That's because it came from the whole 2.5D thing. I think that's what's stopping them from displaying it that way. There, that feels better. You know, I'm going to put toy plastic material on these eyes just for fun. Oops. Okay, make sure I have these eyes selected. Plastic reflected. Where are you? Toy plastic. That's it right there. Okay, fill it. There we go. Yeah, I just don't think they can. Because I think they would have if they could have. I wonder if I import a low poly FBX with softened edges, what it's going to do in ZBrush, it will render them as hard edge surface. Or the second thing I've seen is when you render hard edge things in a program like Maya, it's literally breaking. This is getting crazy normal or crazy technical, but it's literally changing the average normal between the two faces. It's just pointing the normals. If you have two faces like this and the normals are looking out away from those faces, a smooth surface basically averages the normals between the faces and renders them that way. ZBrush just doesn't do that. So when you bring in a model from somewhere else that it has been displayed smoothly, all that's going to do is average those normals and display them as hard edges. You know what's interesting is I've been playing a game recently called Deep Rock Galactic, and they've used that as a look, they've used hard edges. Everything in that game has hard edges turned on. There's no soft rendering, which is crazy to me. Okay. I'm going to turn this up one more. There we go. Okay. It's funny, she's got these like light pink irises that are looking way down. Rock and stone. I love that game so much. Oh man. It's funny because it's such a it's aiming for the male demographic so hard, that game. Which I'm fine with. It's so funny. It's like drinking beers and mining with your bros. Is there a big difference between 2017 and 2022? Well, I'm not going to say it. They've added a lot of new functionality, but as far as sculpting, I don't think so. Okay, I'm going to make this chin smaller. Okay, let's paint these lips here. Oops, I'm painting material. I always forget to switch that back. So, you know, what's interesting is you can paint with Sculptris Pro turned on, which will give you a cleaner edge. So I can turn this down a little bit. It's not the perfect edge, and you can come back and like pinch it too. Let's see here. I want to grab this blue color from her lips. No. This one, yeah. So if you, just a quick tip, if you ever want to eyedrop a color from your spotlight image here, just make sure your ring is showing, and then you can hit C, like as in cat, and eyedrop a color from it. Oh, thank you. I just flip it around so I have a better position for my right hand to be able to paint on here. See, I'm getting a much tighter triangles because vertex coloring or polypaint is based off of it's painting all the vertices, all the dots, not the faces. Unlike applying a material to a face in other programs, in ZBrush it's vertex coloring, so something you have to kind of be aware of, limitation. Does the actual color of the image even? It will take the, if your image has like some opacity, turn it down like that, it will still grab the full color from it. See the color swatch right here? Watch it change as I hover over different colors. See, that's grabbing the full color and not a mix of it. Yeah. I told you last time I'm interested in character creation. You asked me to send you an email. Oh goodness, Gala. Okay, sorry, my last week was nuts, and I did get your email. I'm gonna write me a note right now. I will get back to you. Sorry about that. Okay. Thanks for the reminder. Jeez. I apologize. Okay. Let's see. But I think also can have a different vertex color for the same vertex in two faces. Well, yeah, I'm not sure about that. This is ZBrush. So you're currently watching the Pixologic live streaming channel, which they make ZBrush. So yeah, this is ZBrush. So did somebody ask about Sculptris? Why can't I see it? Oh, last week you had some thoughts on, in particular, on the Maxon acquisition. Now that some rather large changes happens, is this still the case? So here's my thoughts on that whole thing. I already talked about it earlier in the stream, and basically all I can say is that Pixologic as a company, they've always been a very, very small company. I personally know the owners, and they're just a stellar group of people. And they haven't taken the acquisition lightly. They thought about it for a long time, and I think it's a good business decision on their part, right? And they've been nothing but generous to the entire crowd of people who own ZBrush. So it's kind of like that. It's not like they're taking anything away. It's because once you purchase ZBrush, it's yours. They can't take it away and force you to use subscriptions. Although that's what Adobe tried to do. They're trying to like say you can't use old versions of Photoshop, and that's just not good business practice. So I just think once you purchase ZBrush, they don't make you get updates. You only need updates if it's something you want to use, right? So I don't see that big of a problem with it. Unless you are a subscriber currently, then nothing will change, you know, unless they like crank the price, which I don't know why they would. And then you'll always get the latest and greatest updates. So I guess I don't understand what everybody's bent about. And then also, if people are spending their time updating the program and actually adding legit stuff that I want to use, I'll be more than happy to pay them for their time and their effort, and so they can pay their families, you know, like they can feed their families essentially, right? Because they put in this effort. It's like crying saying, I got this for free for so long, why don't you keep giving it to me for free? And it's like they've just been more than generous. And you know, I've felt like it's been great, but as a business owner and a business person, I don't understand how that can be a maintainable business thing. So I'm just like, yeah, just do it, man. So I wish everybody would just go, oh, cool, good for you, Pixologic, and then move on, you know? So I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know. Hey, did I see Ashley? How's it going, Ash? You came in just in time. Of course, there's the debate. But to me, it's kind of like sending your kid off to college and then they get a job, right? It's like, congratulations, kid. You know, you've graduated and now you're getting a job. So for me, it's like, congratulations, Pixologic. Because when they first made ZBrush, they had no intention of it becoming what it is today at all. I know that for a fact. It was like a hobbyist program when they very first started for artists, you know, just to screw around with. And then as soon as like the big companies saw that you could push millions and millions of polys with it, all of a sudden it's become this thing bigger than itself. For people that have gotten years of updates, I get it. For those of us that bought it a month ago, not so much. It's even still like, so the program that it is today, I don't know. It's completely capable. It's like, what, I guess I don't understand, what more would you want? You know what I mean? It just feels like, I don't know. Like, what updates are you wanting that it doesn't have, basically? That, sorry, I'm getting all heated. I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. I'm just like, it's got everything that I would ever want it to have in it right now. I guess I don't know what more updates I could pay for or want. Yeah, I get people don't like change, but at the same time, I don't know. Everything changes eventually. So I understand I understand it, but I guess like my point is, what are you missing out on by not getting updates? You know, I guess that's the question. Because for me, it's a completely 100% capable program that you can do whatever you want with. So I guess that's my question. Okay, let's see. And how you doing, Ashley? Welcome. So Ashley's another streamer on here, and she does some awesome stuff on Wednesdays. Makes some great creatures. So talking about the new UV stuff, I agree. But if, you know, if they, this is just speculation, you know, if the programmers from Maxon, the helpers, they come in and they help them actually get that UV thing up and going, and then they want, you know, some extra money for it. I guess I personally don't see the problem with that, because they've worked hard to get it in there and make it happen. And so it's like, yeah, sure. If I feel like I need that or want that, then here's my money. That's just kind of how most things in the world work. So not the same frame of reference, but I'm also not triggered by the Maxons. Yeah, I'm not triggered either, honestly. Hey Tom, how you doing? Yeah, that's another good point. If you make money from the program, you should definitely pay for it. Let's see. Oh, Soul Dagger, I apologize. I thought you said I don't think it's fair. I misread that. I apologize. You say you think it's fair. Okay. I misread that. I'm like, you don't think it's fair, bah, you know. That's not me. I'm sorry. Oh gosh. Worried that the pricing will be out of your hobbies room. I can kind of see that. But like I said, I don't think the subscription price will change. Maybe, but I don't think so. And then if you already have a perpetual license, you have it. There's nothing more that you need, you know? Unless something comes along that you absolutely need to get from the updates, and then you can drop some coin then, you know? I don't understand. It's everybody's fear of what could be rather than what is, I guess. Let's see if I missed anything. Yeah, because I don't really want to get into it, because there's other software out there that I absolutely don't agree with, and it makes me angry. So then I look for other solutions. But with this, it's like, I have no problem with it at all. I'm actually like, yeah, I know the people at Maxon, they're great. And yeah, super cool. Yeah, it's like, don't be afraid of what isn't a thing, I guess. All right. Hey, Comics, how you doing? Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. You know, I've based my business around kind of the same idea of free updates. But then you kind of get into a corner a little bit, because then all of my income needs to come from new students rather than current ones. And I've had lots of current students say, hey, I wouldn't mind giving you extra for some extra work that you've put into this, and you know, they have no problem with it. But I've already said, well, I told you that I'd give you all my updates for free, and I am, so staying true to my word kind of a thing. So now I have to think about other products. Right, Ashley. That's the thing, is I bought this program when I bought it. You know, I think it was 4R4 or something like that. 4R2. I can't even remember when I got it. And I've been grateful for all the updates. And now it's like, well, you know, if Maxon comes in and they say, hey, we're going to add UVs and this and that, and it's going to cost such and such amount for you to update to this, I would be like, yeah, I want that, you know, here you go. Here's my money. Not a problem. That's just my hot take on it. And I wish everybody else would feel the same way. it's like Tesla not offering like their free auto driving anymore, you know, or anyway, I don't know. I don't want to keep going on that. There. I said what I said. Spicy. That's as spicy as I get. So what? I think 6 month pricing is great. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't done a subscription on it, so. Okay, I need to get some planes on her horns. I guess I could block in her hair too. That might be a thing that would help. I'm liking her face though. I think she needs thicker lips. I'm just talking out loud right now. Like a smaller tooth gap. Like not a tooth gap, but a tooth negative space right there. Feels smaller. Like her mouth isn't quite there yet. Master Fool. I need to look into that one as well, because I kind of feel the same with you there. Okay, I'm gonna put some a hair block out on here. Not a cube. Her hair is not a cube. There you go. That's a cool character. Just a big sphere being held up by horns. I like that better. Sorry, I'm changing the design. Okay, let's see. Oh, that was a perfect reaction. Nothing. I love cubes. Oh, now it looks like, oh, what's that character? I'm trying to think of what that character's from with the like sphere head. Is it like Dragon Ball Z or something? I can't remember. Sorry if I offend anyone by not remembering. Breeze. I like Frieza. Yeah, he's like got that. Is it a brain sticking? I can't remember. It's interesting that the hair is coming from behind this horn. How high this is. Yeah. David Bowie. I think it was his would have been birthday recently. I like when his birthday rolls around because then you get to see all this David Bowie art. My friend Joe Mena, he's a big Bowie fan. Oh, looks like I smoothed with Sculptris. Might as well go for it. Here, crank this up so it's not so heavy. But yeah, Joe, he's He's a huge ZBrush sculptor. That's right, Dave is immortal. David is. I'll never forget him in Labyrinth. That's where I first, well, Labyrinth and music videos when I was a kid. Jareth, the Goblin King. He's always gonna be the Goblin King to me. Yeah, it was like the perfect part for him, right? I don't think they could have picked a better person to play that part. I actually met Toby. The baby Toby. He was the son of the sculptor who sculpted most of the characters for Henson. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? He and his wife. Gosh dang it. Why am I forgetting? Don't get old. Don't get old. Stop now. Can't remember anything anymore. It'll come to me. Probably come to me after somebody like pipes in and says who. Yeah, Froud. Thank you. I knew, Mark, I knew you were going to say it. Yeah, Brian Froud and his wife. What's his wife's name? Anyway, Toby, their son, is the baby in Labyrinth that they throw around. Did I say Jimi Hendrix? I didn't say Jim Henson. Did I say Jimi Hendrix? Really? I wouldn't be surprised if I said Jimi Hendrix. Another immortal for sure, but did I say? Okay, good. I thought I was like, oh crap, I'm not that bad, am I? Okay. I'm going to try doing a morph target. Morph target. Where did I put those? Thought I put them here. There it is. Store morph target. Okay. Okay. So Toby was at CTN one year, like the Creative Talent Network that they used to do in Burbank before this whole COVID thing. And he was just there hanging out, drinking beers. So yeah, it was kind of surreal talking to him. And now he's a phenomenal animator at Leica in Oregon. Like Leica is the studio that makes like box trolls. So that's pretty cool. Why a morph target? Because well, I know it works with the chisel brush. I'm not sure if it works with my new carve brush that I made, but basically, if you use this chisel brush, I'll just show you. Turn off Sculptris Pro. So if I draw like this, well, there's not enough geometry. That looks horrible. Here, let me add some more geometry. Okay, I'm just going to fill this area right here just for... Okay, so if I draw this in here like this, and if I cross right here, if I didn't have a morph target, it would build up or push down inside where it crossed. And if you have a morph target stored, it won't. It will keep that. So that's the main reason. And then the second reason is you can leave this here and then pick up where you left off. Hopefully. You see, it's still kind of doubling up right there. It's very tricky. But anyway. but I'm not sure that it works with carve. And if you have a morph target stored, you can use the morph erase brush. So that's something you could use. So BM, and it's called morph right here. And if you use that and you have a morph target stored, you can essentially, I'm going to turn Sculptris Pro off. You can, oh, is it gone? I guess I didn't store one. Where did it go? I guess it didn't store a morph. Well, I'll store one now. Okay. Well, that's not going to work. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to undo this back to what it was. I need some more density anyway. Oh, thanks, Ash. Thanks for hanging out. Catch Ashley on Wednesdays. She does awesome stuff. Okay, so I'm going to fill this in a little, not that much. I think you can't use Sculptris with a morph target, now that I think about it, because Sculptris changes the topology so much that it wouldn't make any sense. Sorry, I'm just going to fine tune this a little more. Okay, that works. All right, so Sculptris Pro is off. Now, I'm going to store a morph target. See, it is stored. I'm going to delete it and store it again. Okay. So if I, let's use that morph brush again. So let's do a chisel, and we'll cut a chisel in here. Just this, whatever, right? We have this chisel. And if I use the morph brush now, it's B, M, looks like G. Okay. And if I paint on the surface, you can erase it back to the morph. See that? So that's like it's like having an erase brush. Yeah, super handy. Okay, I'm gonna go pretty big with this. Are those 3D Character Workshop brushes for free? Yeah, you can grab them from my website at right above my head, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And yeah, I give them away for free. Sure. Okay, I'm just kind of, it's just slicked back. So I was given, this is just this carve brush. And you can, like I said, you can get it from my website if you want. You can also use it along with H-Polish. I'm going to push down this one side here. I can smooth this side in. Sometimes I feel like Bob Ross when I'm talking about what I'm doing. Little tree here. Oh yeah, digital tutors. Yep, I have like 5 tutorials on there. Still. Back before they were Pluralsight. See, that's a different company. Another company that did a buyout there. Pluralsight. It happens. I wonder what happens if I go huge. Huge. Yeah, they're kind of gone. It's just Pluralsight now. Even though they still have some of the logos and whatnot kicking around. Yeah, that's where I got my start with teaching, was digital tutors. That's what made me realize that, hey, I like doing this. I really enjoyed teaching. It's very rewarding. I don't know where this is coming from. So I'm going to flood fill this. See, I bet my morph target's gone now, if I were to guess. Ah, still says it has one. I don't know how that works. Yeah, Mark, very true. Yeah, I used to use Maxon body paint back in the day. I like that thing. That was how you painted on a model. I think they were first to that market before Substance or any of that stuff was out. And I could bring in my model with UVs on it and just paint right on the surface. So I have no idea. I don't work for Pixologic, so I don't think they've disclosed that information. I don't know if it's public, since they're not publicly shared. I don't know. Okay, so once this starts getting difficult to see, what I like to do is change this to white. And you can turn off the coloring for it just by clicking this little paintbrush. Now you can kind of see it better, and then pick a different material. I don't know that I have it loaded. I don't. I'm going to go grab it from my old version of ZBrush. I like the ZBrush materials a lot, as my students know. Let's see, files, Pixologic. Okay, I like this modeling clay one right here. It just shows the details better. And then, yes, thank you, Neil. And then the ZBrush gray. So both of these are great ZBrush materials. Do you do any courses on how to stylize characters? Yes, I do. Or know of any good books on the subject? No. I think most learning for this stuff is online now, because it's so visual and so like, let me show you how to do this rather than look at it in a book. I've contributed to several books, but they've kind of fallen out of style as far as a technical manual for these programs, and it's become more of like there's Z classrooms and other resources online, like on YouTube and stuff. And then there's people like myself that have made full courses on teaching these things. And I've made the 3D character workshop. It's a full-on workshop, start to finish. I show you how to make characters for video games and toys, stylized characters. So you can check that out if you want. Just go head over to 3dcharacterworkshop.com. There's actually a lot of my students in here today, so you don't have to take my word for it. You can ask any of them and see what they think about it. And also, I always appreciate all the students that give me a shout out. It makes me feel so super stellar for doing it. You know, it makes it all worth it, kind of a thing. There we go. Let's see what this is looking like. Okay, I'm not going down far enough. That's okay. And I can turn up the lazy mouse drag is what I like to call it. And it's kind of like the equivalent of dragging a rock through sand by a string. That's, you know, like, I don't know of a better way to describe lazy mouse, but you see this lazy radius up here? If I crank that up, it's basically lengthening the string that's tied to the rock. So if you see I start to drag and see how it starts to go, that red string, it basically makes it so I can do super clean strokes. And if you're using a mouse, which you shouldn't be, it helps out a lot. That's why it's called lazy mouse. Yeah, lazy mouse. Yep. Basically saying, how do you get clean strokes with your mouse? Well, turn on lazy mouse. That'll help. I gotta pinch this together. Going too vertical with these things. So funny. When Smokey Sings by ABC just came up on my, I'm listening to my own 80s station. I love the song and I never understood like some of those 80s lyrics. It's like, who? It's like either everybody was high or they just didn't give a care. Can you please tell me after unwarping, I think you mean unwrapping, right? How to generate texture in one click where there's a lot of objects. It's not possible to do it in one click. So there's, you bake maps from your high resolution to your low resolution. It's a long drawn out process. It's not like a one-click solution. I mean, there are VizDev one-click solutions. You can check out So Much Monsters for his, that's my friend Joe's plugin for ZBrush. That is, it's like a multiple click solution, but it's not for production. It's, or like final production, it's only for previs. So what you want to push your character to, like, say Unreal as fast as you can use his plugin to do that. And it will project everything and do it really quickly, but you won't want to use it for production. So yeah, again, it's kind of a time consuming process. Have I done any of my pieces in NFTs? Nope. I actually talked about NFTs earlier in my stream if you want to watch that back later on after Pixologic pushes this video to their YouTube channel. But no, I haven't. Yes. Is it called So Much ZBrush? Is that Joe's? Joe Pickup is his name. It's his plugin. It's a really great plugin. Nice, Neil. You were on that one too. There you go. And if you're a student of mine, I actually have an interview with Joe, and he talks about that plugin under Industry Pro interviews section of my course. Abram, I have, but I can't really talk about it because this is the Pixologic live streaming channel, so I like to keep the conversation on just on ZBrush. But yes, I love sculpting on the go for sure. Let's see. Is Sculptris Pro? It is turned off. Okay. It's always such a guess where to put these things, make it look good. Sometimes I like it here, and I'm not a fan of what's going on over here. I always try the less is more approach, and I always try to put more detail up front in the face and less detail in the back as it goes down until the hair splits at the bottom of the bases. Hey, Gurn, sure. I do have to give credit to the mock cut brush, because that's what it started as. He goes by Malachus the Black online. He came up with that. He just accidentally found a setting one day and cranked it up, and it worked. And then I've just kind of tuned it and tweaked it. Let's see if I... Have I sculpted in VR? I have. A long time ago, I used, I have an Oculus, like first gen. So I used it before, I used Oculus before Adobe purchased it. And it was, I can tell you what my thoughts on VR sculpting. I love it because it gets me out of the chair, right? It gets me up and out of the chair, and I'm like in the room with my sculpt, which is awesome. And I can reach up really high and go and sculpt. Really cool. That's I love that part about it. But the part that I don't love about it is that it feels like sculpting with shaving cream. Like it's super fast. Like it's so fast that you can accidentally mess up your model really easy. With ZBrush, it's slow and smooth and predictable. So it was very hard for me to get something that I wanted out of sculpting in VR. I love the experience, and I'm like, this is the future, right? Sculpting in VR is the future, and I can't wait until it gets better. But right now, it feels very fast to me. I feel like this needs to come out a little more. Oh, thanks. I totally forgot where that was. Thank you so much. Yeah, the setting is under brush modifiers, brush modifier. It adds a secondary effect based on the brush you're using. Damien standard with it cranked to 100 is the Mach cut brush. There you go. That's a good way to put it, Ilya. I kind of want this to curve out and pinch in, like it's being kind of pulled or growing from here. Yeah, I've done some like snow sculpture and stuff in the past, and I love being able to stand up next to my sculpture or sand or whatever it is and like just move around it, you know? And one thing I really love about VR sculpting is the ability to just click two buttons and go like this, and it makes it big. Like you can scale it really, really big, so you can get down really close into like, you know, the pores and stuff, but it's huge. And then grab it, same thing, and just kind of go, and it goes really small. And so it's like scaling like this, but on a much quicker, it happens much faster. And I just like that a lot. And I really love the ability to hold my sculpt in my left hand while sculpting with the right hand. So it's kind of like it feels a lot like holding a model, like a 3D printed model like this in your hand and sculpting on it while you turn it like this. That is awesome. I love that part about it, you know? But at the same time, it's just too fast. If they could figure out the speed thing and just be able to slow it all down and make it super subtle, then I think, you know, I could do something with it. All right. I think I've hit my limit as far as how long I can sit at one time. It's not my arms, it's just like just sitting in general, you know. This desk that I have is a standing desk, but if I make it stand, then you'll be looking at my stomach, you know, like, and you can't see me anymore. So yeah, when I'm working and doing production, I go between standing and sitting. Thanks, Bryce. And then back here, yeah, I just need to keep going. Yeah, I mean, it's totally worth it. If you spend more than 8 hours in front of your desk, or even up, you know, more than 6 hours at your desk, I would invest in a standing desk, and you can get some at like IKEA for fairly decent price. Yeah, then it's totally worth it. And if you don't have a standing desk, make sure you're getting up and walking around frequently, getting your systems moving, because otherwise you're kind of like a stagnant pond, right? Just gathering moss, sitting there. All right, yeah, I'm almost done anyway for today. You're welcome, Leonard. Thanks for watching. I'm trying to figure out some flow to these. And then I'm gonna end some of them right here, and so they overlap what's going on underneath. You know, because it's like, well, you can see some of these tips poking up. That's because these front hairs are ending right here, and then there's more growing underneath and falling down. So I don't mean to take these strands all the way to the bottom. Check your layers. I don't have any layers. I don't use layers typically. Let's see. Yeah, layers restrict you from so many tools in ZBrush. I only use them for surface detail whenever I'm doing something like that needs noise or some kind of a chiseled. Yeah, saving as a project is very, they can get really, really big. Yeah, ZBrush does have layers. Sculpt layers. It's in a menu right over here. Layers. Right there. But as I said, I don't really use them too much. I'm experimenting with this hair. I'm not sure I like it too much. Just ending like this. It's like drink. All right, you guys. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, again, I would use layers for surface details, I wouldn't use them often. Like they don't work well with posing. They don't work well with like cutting or slicing. Anything you do to the mesh physically, it will ruin your layers. So save layers till the very, very end when you want to do surface details. And even then, I don't keep them around for very long. All right, you guys. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. A lot of fun, a lot of heated debates. May keep going, maybe. I mean, I have the horn stuff to detail out. Yeah, not sure. We'll see. We'll see. All right, you guys. Let's turn this back on. I've said that several times now. Yay, fun. I still need to get some other things happening in there. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful week, and we will catch you next Monday. As always, you can get my user interface, my brushes, and all of that for free over at my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. Speaking of which, I also teach a workshop online, and I show you how to make stylized characters just like this one, so you can go check that out as well. All right. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday. All right. Take care. Thank you, Neil. Thanks, Mark. See you.